And welcome to another episode of Star 42 with Michael.
And Jace.
Thank God you threw something. That's if you're listening to this, once again, Jace threw, I don't even know what he threw. I didn't see land. So
it was just a pair of sunglasses. I got to throw something, though. It's no fun unless you throw something.
Well, that's a good point. And hey, what episode are we on? Are we now number 20 or 19?
I don't even know anymore. 20.
I think we're on 20. We made it to 20. Fantastic.
We made it to 20. It took us a while, but we got here.
Exactly. And it took me about, for our few audience members, all four of you, it took me about a month to get episode 19 out. And to my defense, between Jace going sailing, we're going to talk about that soon. And then also I moved to a new house and I have a much larger office. I was just showing Jace. I'm not going to show it to anyone else because it's a mess. If you really care to see it, reach out to me. All three of you, you've probably seen it already. And there's been a lot going on. But now I already had my summer vacation. Jace, you had yours. What would you do? I texted you. I saw you were in a sailboat, and I'm like, what is happening here?
So 2 years ago, I thought, well, I want to try sailing. As I saw these YouTubers doing this sailing stuff, like that looks like fun. So I signed up for a sailing class, and I thought I'd hate it. I loved it. My wife came with, and she thought she wouldn't like it, and she loved it. And by sailing class, I mean like a hour on a boat in Minnesota here somewhere. And then we signed up for the American Sailing Association 101. And we got that 2 years ago with our captain Irv. It was a 2-day live aboard, and we chartered the boat for 2 days afterwards. Somehow we caught a tree with the anchor line 2 years ago. And we wanted to bring the kids out.
Okay.
Yeah, so when you drop, we were at Lake Superior. We dropped this anchor line and we went to sleep because you can sleep on these boats. They're a lot bigger, right? So we had a 28-foot O-day we had chartered. And my wife and I slept in the boat. It was fantastic. We got up. We went to pull the anchor in and she couldn't pull it in. So I tried to pull it in and I caught a tree. This is 2 years ago. Last year I wanted to get out, but life just got busy. So this year we brought the kids out, but we chartered the wrong boat. To get the boat we wanted the charter, we had to get another certification. And so my wife was like, well, we can get the other certification, the 103, 104, or we can get a smaller boat. And she's like, I want the bigger boat. So we're going to get the certification. And I'm like, more sailing. Sounds good to me. And so the pictures that I sent you from, we were by Rocky Island and Twin Island on Lake Superior in Wisconsin. And we were just getting ready for bed, and the water was very still, and there was a few other sailboats. I don't think you saw them in the picture I sent you, but it was beautiful and majestic, and the water was really cold. I know because I jumped in with the kids because they wanted to go swimming. Lake Superior is very deep and very cold, but it was awesome.
Hence why it's superior. Can I share a picture here? I got one up.
Yeah, of course.
There we go. So this is Jace right here. I didn't want to show your family. I don't know, if you're super private or whatever, but it's kind of funny too, because like right when we were texting about that, I think my wife was like, oh, you got to look at like this TikTok of this really beautiful place like in Lake Superior. And I think it was like close to where you were. And I was like, now that you mention it, I have a friend who's sailing. And I think that is really cool.
It is so pretty. I'll throw a couple more up there real quick if you'd like to see, just so you can kind of see it here. And I don't mind. So like this is one of the I think this was in where was this? This was by Lake Stockton Island. This was the first night we were out. But you can see all those other sailboats out there. Like the water is still, which is not great for sailing, by the way. You want a little bit of waves because that's indicator of wind, right? We saw some ducks. There's me pointing at something. My son is at the helm messing with stuff, right? But it's so pretty. This was also on Raspberry Island. We took a picture of our sailboat that we were on. Like it is just so pretty out there. And there's nothing out there because this used to be like a major trade route, but it's not anymore. This was a lighthouse on Raspberry Island They used to be used for major commerce, but now the major shipping route doesn't go towards it stays further out of land with GPS. So it's amazing.
Ah, look at
Yeah.
that. So for
Yeah.
people
That,
listening, he's showing a picture of like all these great stars. And, I think that vacation is absolutely incredible and cool. And my family will never do something like that.
you don't have
And
to. You can hire a captain or have a friend take you out.
no, they still won't do that anyway. It's my family is not a let's be adventurous kind of people. I would love it, even though my wife would say no, let's not BS it, but I think I would still love it. To give you a good context, like both my kids are very neurodivergent. My wife is neurodivergent. I definitely fall in that category, and we don't like a lot of difference changes in our lives. And last year we went to LA for a vacation. We did something different. And our first dinner, we're at this nice restaurant in the hotel and we're getting food. And of course, all the food's a little different. And everyone's miserable because we're tired. And my son says, "This is why we don't do anything new in vacations." Just, but hats off to you because I think that sailing and doing that is just awesome.
Yeah, I mean the kids had no internet for some of the time because like there's no internet
And that's
when you're on the
great.
lake, everywhere. I agree. It's
Yeah.
awesome to see people get bored. Not like that's the goal, but it
Yes.
kind of is because then they find different ways to get busy.
Absolutely. And that's what like psychologists have said, kids nowadays, they actually do not know how to entertain themselves because they're never forced to.
So yeah, that's what's new with me. So now I want a sailboat more than ever. I thought I might not want one, but I want to buy one, and that's unfortunate for me. But it's okay. I'll figure it
Yeah,
out.
my uncle, he was a big sailor and he had a boat on Lake Erie. Um,
Sure.
and every year he would take whichever child between my dad and my uncle graduated high school, we'd go on a week-long sailing trip around Lake Erie. Um,
Cool.
now Lake Erie, with how it's situated, I think the wind patterns are a little different, but it's still one of the inland Great Lakes. And for those who are not as familiar with the Great Lakes, because I grew up, part of my life was spent in a small town on Lake Michigan. I mean, you see these Great Lakes and they are mini seas, inland seas, and the weather can be crazy. And thankfully, it looks like you had some great weather. Um, and it is really cool. And if you're one of those people who like sailing, but doesn't necessarily want to be like in the open ocean between continents, I think the Great Lakes are a perfect middle ground for that.
I just wish the water was warmer in Lake Superior because I live close to it.
Yes, and Lake Michigan itself, I remember, was always pretty cool. Lake Superior, is that the deepest Great Lake? I think it's pretty deep.
Lake Superior is the deepest. I hear you can
Yes.
stuff an Empire State Building all the way at the bottom and not see the top.
Wow, that's pretty deep. Um, so even that couple who climbed the Empire State Building wouldn't be able to get out, basically. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Um, that is great. I love that you did that. I love the pictures. I'm envious of it, but like I said, I know we'll never do that, and I think that's awesome. I'm not that we're never going to do it, but I think what you did was awesome. I think we're boring.
Hey, we all have our own adventures.
Exactly. My venture was moving to a new house. This is a third move, by the way, in like 6 years.
You got to
So,
stop doing that. It's not easy to move.
no, it's not. Thankfully, it was a move within Columbus versus like moving to Florida and back like we did. But one of the
Yeah.
coolest things about it is I got like a much larger office because before I had kind of like a small, very small room. It was more like just a sitting room with a bathroom. And I'm going to show now. Now I got this massive room. It's a mess, but you can see my Star Wars stuff. Um, Now I've got this massive room as an office and I've got like all this, I got a big computer and desk now. And, um, it's pretty exciting that, and, I don't know if you've also noticed, this is exciting to me. My video's probably a little bit clearer now compared to other podcasts we recorded. And because I got a new, much better camera. It's supposed to follow me, but it's not, but whatever. Um, Whatever. So, that was the excitement of my past month of getting a new house and still trying to sell the old one. And you know what? I recommend
That's the kind of
everybody move
stress
into,
I don't want.
yes, it's very stressful. I recommend everybody. pick one house and just don't move. That's it. In that one spot.
I recommend everybody just sell their house and move on a sailboat.
You know, that sounds awesome, honestly. Get a Starlink so you
Right?
have a good internet connection. Even though I'm not a fan of Elon Musk politically, Starlink is cool.
Yeah, it is.
Can't argue that.
Yep.
All right. So the best part about it is like our podcast is about tech, and yet sailing and no internet connection is like the lowest tech you can get. It's been going on for hundreds, thousands of years at this point, right?
You do not want high tech on a sailboat, in my opinion. I
Exactly.
mean, you do, but you need the analog stuff. Even on the sailboat, there was this indicator to show like which direction the wind was coming versus you're going, and it was showing the apparent wind versus true wind or something. We couldn't get it to work right, so we just fell back to using the analog indicator at the top of the mast to identify where the wind was coming, so we could catch the right
Oh, I
wind.
just like stick my thumb in my mouth and hold it up in the air, and you kind of feel the wind
I
on it.
mean, you can do that, but you really want to know the direction, like the absolute direction it's going.
Oh, I see.
And like, you know what I mean? Like, you can get a feel for like, oh, it's coming from this way, but you really want to know like, oh, it's coming from the, 30th degree across the boat,
Yeah.
right? And
Well,
then, like whichever
it's
way.
absolutely, yeah. And what I love is like the news articles of like there's now wind powered boats kind of thing, and you're like, that's been around for hundreds of thousands of years. It's not new, right? But
Yeah.
incidentally, your summer vacation was sailing on a boat, and back in May, my summer vacation was that Alaskan trip, which was also on a boat, Alaskan cruise. And the one thing I want to share though is one of the I think the best thing of the whole trip. Now it was amazing, but one of the coolest parts of it was we went to the aquarium in Seattle because we had like an extra day in Seattle. And this is a
Yeah.
time lapse photograph of the seal who basically would swim to one side of the tank and just float down it. Well, that's not that time lapse. That's not the good one. And
Oh,
I think that was the best, coolest guy because he just seemed to enjoy life of just, hey, let me swim down my tank here. Oh,
out of
here it is.
curiosity,
Finally,
what cruise line did you guys end up taking to Alaska?
we ended up going on Royal Caribbean
Okay.
because they had a very large ship and they had like basketball and everything else. Here it is. Here's the time
Yeah.
lapse. So you can see how fast people are moving, and the guy's just like gradually floating down here. And he would start at one end of the tank and just stare at you. And then get to the edge, he would swim back and just stare at you. And I
Sounds
think if I want
very
to be reincarnated, I want to
lackadaisical.
come back as that seal.
There you go.
So I do recommend Royal Caribbean. They did great. A lot of activities for the kids. I have teenagers. They didn't have internet, so that was nice for most of it. But honestly, I'm very jealous she did this awesome sailing trip. It was cool. But as much as we want to catch up with our own personal lives, we do need to get to some technology because that's technically what we're getting into.
We're
Uh,
always, I mean, you and I are always working on tech. We're fiddling with something.
always, always. So one thing I want to address. So this is going to start with like an elephant in the room, so to speak, ish. Um, one of if you're on the ServiceNow community, because obviously we're big into ServiceNow. If you're in the ServiceNow
We are.
community, you may have come across this blog post from Ashley Snyder, product manager, called out Ashley. Hey, what's this? Third party model providers are becoming the default for analysis skills and agents, and essentially, now LLM is generally, I'm not going to say totally going away, but just it seems like it's
Not the
now
default.
not the default anymore is what I'll say. You can read the rest of that. But it brought up a lot of curiosity in the sense of, hey, what's with this change? So, in your opinion, why do you think this change is occurring? Because I have my own thoughts about it.
I think things are moving too fast and it's too expensive to build your own models. And I'm not saying
I
ServiceNow can't afford to do that, but their money isn't in building AI models. Their money is selling ServiceNow.
I think your interpretation analysis is 1,000% correct. I'm not in product management, so I'm not making decisions about it. But I think at the end of the day, when it comes to a lot of the AI, we're going to see that shift where, hey, these people are the models moving so fast, and there's a focus more on how good is that model versus, what it can do.
Well, it's so
Uh,
funny and how we say how good a model is, and really a lot of the model like testing is almost the capabilities that the model is trained to use and not how good the model is. Like if you don't test it with tooling, you can't test a lot of the things about it. Right? Because it's just the amount of stuff you can do with these models now is just insane.
yes. And the amount of work it would take to keep that performance of an AI model with what people are seeing in the consumer world is probably
Yeah.
crazy, massive resources to do. It's just ServiceNow. You're right. I don't think
I
the
would
value's there.
I would love to self-host my own models, but you just don't get you can host models that are okay, right? But you're not going to be anywhere near even like the open source models that are out there. Like if
Or
you want to
like the
self-host Kimi, you got to have like $200,000 worth of compute at home,
and
right?
probably hosting something like an Opus, for example, is impractical.
No way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ain't
But
no way. Not for a consumer.
yeah. But I just stood up my own like I had a Raspberry Pi 5.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you know what? I need to start getting into like OpenClaw. So I'm like, I'm gonna put OpenClaw on that. And then instead of trying to, pay for an Anthropic, whatever, I'm like, you know what? I got LM Studio on kind of an older laptop. It's got an NVIDIA GPU. So it's kind of good enough to run light models. I am just going
Yeah.
to set that up and have OpenClaw use that as kind of the core model. And then whatever I need to also pump into it, like knowledge searching or whatever, I'll do. And I think that's going to be good enough for what I want OpenClaw for and secure and local and everything else,
I have
allegedly.
opinions.
Let's hear your opinion because, hey, we got to entertain
So
these few
I've
listeners somehow.
It's true. So I set up OpenClaw like 5 different times, and like I always had trouble with it keeping it work. It felt so brittle every time I set it up because like something's always breaking. And it never stuck with me. Like so I'd set it up, I'd work with it for a few days, and then it'd be like, oh, it's not working with this connection anymore. About 2 months ago, I found this project that predates OpenClaw called Hermes. Have you heard of it? By
Talked about that. You talked about that
Nous.
before.
Oh, we have. Okay. Man, it is. I just think it is so much better because it builds its own skills with you instead of just downloading random skills, and they just work. And like, I'm not talking using the best of the best models. I pay for Open Code Go, which is like $10 a month, and I use DeepSeek Flash and Mimo and a few of the other like lower end models, and like it's good enough for what I use it for. So yeah, definitely play around with it because you can get some really interesting results.
Okay. You know what? Maybe I'll get rid of OpenClaw and go with Hermes if I can load it on my nice little Raspberry Pi. Just
You can probably run them
try it
side
out.
by side. Just turn one off and turn the other one on
Yeah,
if you want to
I
go back and
probably
forth.
could. But what I've also found with the models themselves comes into, hey, how good is the data knowledge you're feeding it? And that's where we
Right.
start to talk about retrieval augmented generation and is this AI using the knowledge? Because you can either train an AI on all the existing data, so it's kind of in the model, but that could get huge.
Very
But
expensive.
ultimately, very expensive. But ultimately, data is constantly changing, so it's expensive to do. So
Right.
I think we were just talking about some different tools around that. You had some.
So yeah, have you heard about the open knowledge format that Google just spec'd out?
I could say
It's
yes
called.
because you told me a little earlier, but I'm going to say no. What is open knowledge format?
Yeah. So there's this format in version 0.1. Here, I'll throw it on the screen if you want to see. But it's
All right.
Google pretty much added the specification around kind of how some of these models are already building their own knowledge bases. So effectively,
Okay.
you have like they call them bundles when you put them together. And you have concepts, concept IDs. They're pretty much markdown files with just a little bit of front matter. So it doesn't seem like it's very complicated. But you can I have on the screen. I have this GitHub repo um, where they showed like the bundle structure. We have path to bundle, and you have a top level index MD, which has some front matter. You can have a log MD, which kind of talks about the history of updates to this. And then you might have concept files, and then you'll have subdirectories with more index files and concept files and more subdirectories that go into other stuff, right? And it's just a structure that these models can use. And if it follows the same kind of structure, you can make tools that are more efficient at looking stuff up. Especially if you use the actual front matter stuff that has been used generally. I want to say this resource tag is very important, but it's just interesting, right? The only thing that's really required is this type, whether it's a concept or not. But you can have anything be types. So it's just a different way to put it together. But it's the formality of it means that people will cling to it and go to it.
Yes. That's the big question. When is ServiceNow going to start supporting it?
It literally just came out like 2 weeks ago. So like next
Once
year.
again, when is ServiceNow going to start supporting it?
Right.
Because let's be realistic here. The technology is moving so fast that, and I've seen this as well, of course, in the ServiceNow world. As a company, they're trying to move just as fast with it, which is really, really tough to do. And,
Yes.
look at the Auto that's, I think, now supposed to be coming out with the AI Control Tower. Auto is I want to say, the fourth UI type of engine of ServiceNow, and it's not built into the code, which is different. It's on top of it. And it came out pretty quickly, honestly. I don't know if it had as much of a long runtime of building like the service portal or the workspaces. And, I think it's because, look, at the end of the day, really, the technology is moving so fast. And because of Claude coding and Vibe coding, it can move fast. You
Yep.
know, how quality of movement is a different story, but it can move fast. And so, you know, ServiceNow is one of the companies trying to keep it going on. Salesforce as well. Honestly, I think the best approach right now is to say, hey, look, if you're going to have any kind of platform, like if Fred Luddy were to rebuild ServiceNow 2.0, I think it would all be headless. I think it wouldn't be one code base anymore. It would be, hey, we're going to have the data architecture and the policy security as kind of centralized, but we're going to build connectors so you can be more modular with it. And you can essentially be headless, which is kind of like what I think Salesforce is doing. And ServiceNow itself has got new data connectors and such to kind of start to drive towards it.
I didn't really think about it when we were talking about a little bit before the show. Did you see the Fred Luddy announced Starlifter?
Starlifter! Right?
Yeah.
Or are you talking about something else? Yeah.
No, Starlifter. Yeah, he's come out with another thing. I know he was working on it for quite a while. I heard about it back a couple years ago, but
yeah,
he went public with it.
Well, he went
Fred, if you're
public
listening, we would love you to come on and tell us about Starlifter. Just heads up.
Yes. I actually did send a message to Fred, and I've kind of sent a message to him. He's never responded, by the way. And I don't blame him because, number one, I'm a boring person. Number two, he's got way more important stuff to do.
I hop on sailboats.
You're not. You own sailboats. You were like the MVP of whatever community thing of the year. Here we go. I'm going to share the Starlifter. But, what I love about it is the fact that, yes, there you go. The Michael Lombardo, or which, by the way, Michael Lombardo was and is the only mayor of ServiceNow. Someone once called me the mayor of ServiceNow like last year. I was like, no, it's Michael Lombardo. I never will be in my life, period. It's him. We all love Michael. But that being said, yeah, I'm boring. We got it. Great. Fred Luddy's got the Starlifter. And what I love about this is the fact that it's saying, hey, look, we're not just looking at AI to help serve knowledge or information. We are about making decisions, not just dashboards, not just a bunch of boring meetings. Let's actually put something in place in the enterprise that can make decisions.
You know
And
what that came across to me like when that was announced?
how did it come across to you?
Shots fired at FICO. FICO is in the decision-making stuff, but they don't advertise it the same way because
Well,
everybody just
this
knows about
is,
their credit score stuff.
yeah, I thought that was just the credit score stuff.
No, they have a whole decision system. That's like their bigger business. The credit score stuff it makes some money, but it doesn't make. I don't know if it's their big thing, but they have other stuff that's cool. But yeah,
And the other person that I noticed, do you remember DrepSoft?
yeah,
So a couple of the original
yeah.
founders, Gary and someone else. One of those guys, I don't remember who, one of them from DrepSoft is now also at Starlinter.
Okay,
So,
yeah. Those
which by the
other
way,
names aren't
DrepSoft,
familiar to me.
yeah, by the way, DrepSoft died. Like it's not, you know,
Yeah, it got
um,
aqua killed.
yeah, it was one of those things where some of the original founders of ServiceNow kind of tried to do a ServiceNow 2.0, and I got on a test environment of it, and I was just like, it's not clicking like ServiceNow did to me. So, but yes, Fred, we hope you would join us. The nice thing is because we only have like 5 listeners and no one really cares. I think they're just like, yeah, something to entertain themselves. Um, you can say whatever and probably nothing will hear it anyway. So you use it to test out your messaging around Starlifter.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
Incidentally, I did hit join the waitlist. I don't know what that's going to do. I just got an email that says you joined the waitlist. So I'm like, all right, cool. Like, let me see. Um, So I recommend as well, everyone else, go to starlifter.ai, hit join the waitlist, and let's see. Let's see
Check
what
it
Fred
out.
does. Yeah, if he's got repeat magic. Awesome. And what else is going on in the tech world? Well, you were talking about
Um,
Tim Cook.
yeah, Tim Cook. I read somewhere that his last keynote speech was this like a month ago, and I don't know what really to think about that. I've moved back to Android, so I'm trying to cut the Apple stuff out of my head. But
He
Apple
moved back
just
to
doesn't seem like
Android.
the company it once was.
No, I would say ever since Steve Jobs left and Joni Ives, he was a key player, they didn't have the same feeling of innovation. And the best joke I heard is, Tim Cook left Apple because he got tired of selling the same iPhone for over 10 years. And I love that joke personally. I've said it a bunch of times. So, Jace, you're just staring at me like I've heard it. Fine. Um,
It's all good. Yeah, I mean, it's iPhone isn't what it was 10 years ago either, right? So it's not exactly the same, but it's not that different either.
yes. What I
I really like the
think,
stuff that um the Nothing brand is doing with their phones, where they have like the
yes,
weird
Carl Pay.
the weird designs,
Yes.
right? So like that's kind of fun. Different stuff in the back, but there's not a lot of
Yes.
experimentation out there now. All phones look the same.
No, and I would say the CEO of Nothing Phone and founder, Carl Pay, I think it's Pay, PEI. He also founded OnePlus. And I was a first user. We had this conversation already, but I was the first early adopter of OnePlus, and I had several OnePlus phones, and I loved them. They were great.
Yeah.
They eventually kind of became more of a flagship Android with higher prices versus what they started with. And Carl started it as, "Hey, I want to create a flagship phone company, but like half the cost." And for a few years, yeah, they did awesome. And then they kind of became like everybody else, really. But Nothing Phone, like you mentioned, is different. And I think Carl Pye is one of those people that maybe thinks a little differently.
Yeah. He
And
also
that's
has a lower budget brand than Nothing as well called CMF. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's
never heard of those.
yeah, so CMF runs the same software. It's just a lower cost version of the thing.
So the only downside to like Nothing and even OnePlus and Oppo, I think merged or bought OnePlus, whatever, is there's still the issue of, hey, these are Chinese companies. And the question is, is that a security risk? And I think my current employer doesn't allow like OnePlus phones, for example, to be used for that reason, which is why I have a Google Pixel. And Google's been relatively good. Great picture, you know. Um, and I would prefer like a Nothing phone. Um, but hey, you know what? Eventually, China's going to just call in the US debt that they already own. We're going to become the People's Republic of China of America. We're going to
I
join
mean,
forces. It's going to happen. Start learning
I'm not
Mandarin.
gonna go down this doomsday route with you. I'm gonna be
It's not a
optimistic about
doomsday. It's
stuff.
probably a good thing. Like,
Is it? I don't know. I have no idea.
I don't think it's doomsday. I think it's just going to be the natural progression of life. That's it. That's all I'm
Okay.
saying. And I'm cool with it. I like Chinese food. I'm Jewish. It's like meant to be.
I love Chinese food. Love me some peanut butter chicken. If you've never had it, you don't know what you're missing.
Exactly. Thank you. And MSG, for like monosodium glutamate. MSG really tastes great. There's a total tangent, but like there's a documentary I was watching that the Romans used to get like this weird fish gut oil, like gross, whatever, fermented oil that was basically MSGs. And it was like incredibly expensive because it made food taste so good, kind of thing. So there's not,
1 second.
oh, 1 second. Always got to get a phone call. Well, for those listening, Jace is taking a phone call. We'll probably edit this out so you won't see much of it. But that all being said, um, hey, look, who knows what's going to happen in the world, but I wish I could get more of a Nothing phone. Plus, I love the name Nothing. Like it's kind of thinks differently. But anyway, back to Apple real quick. So I think one of the things with Apple is its innovation and cutting edge really always hindered on Steve Jobs. When he left the first time, it kind of fell down. They had multiple products. They had the Newton. Nothing ever worked. He came back. He cleaned it up. He had them focus. Joni Ives came in from the design and they were great. And then of course, Steve Jobs left. And while they've continued a lot of the same products and services, it hasn't been innovative. But that's where I think Google is a bit different because I think Google as a company has was built up in a culture of innovation. And while
They
that's kind of
definitely know how to
subsided,
create stuff.
yes. And even if they fail, like there's the joke when Google comes out the new service, just wait 5 years, it's probably going to be gone. And oftentimes that happens. And I think in the tech world and enterprise software as well, it's starting to see a similar pattern where technology is moving so fast that we're all trying different things to see what will work. And it's almost like a merging of kind of consumer tech with enterprise tech. And honestly, I don't know what's going to happen. It's crazy. So we'll have to discuss
It
that.
is crazy.
Yes, it is very crazy. But on our next episode, we're going to try to bring in a special guest, Samantha Perner, who's over at Salesforce. And I worked with her years ago. I think we would just vibe well. So hopefully, let's plan on having her join us and we'll even get her take on it. Because I think what we'll find is a lot of the challenges that you and I are seeing in the world, everybody is coming across.
I agree
Everyone's in the same
wholeheartedly.
boat, really.
Yep.
And we're all in the same boat. And guess what? I know someone who knows how to sail it.
You do. And a rising tide lifts all boats. So that's all. It's good for everybody.
There you go. So once again, this has been Michael.
This has been Jace.
Thanks
Oh,
for listening.
also,
What?
if you're catching this, you likely just missed the last Null Stack event of the year. There'll be a Null Edge event coming October 17th. Make sure not to miss it.
Wait, did we already have null stack, the null edge beta?
It's next week
Or is it
on
something else?
Thursday.
Oh, okay. I gotta get this out this quick then. Null edge beta
Well,
next week,
yeah, that's on the 23rd. Yeah, it's only 2 hours.
July.
It's very short. So,
All right.
but
Well,
there's 15 speakers and 300 attendees already signed up.
it's awesome. I love that. I got to join in. I don't think I submitted a speaker proposal. I've been so busy. But once again, this has been Michael.
This is Jace. Have a good one, guys.
Bye for now.